Might have spotted something through the bush there. Sorry guys, it's going to be on the game drive for a second. Standing by. Rather come along Central to Hyena Road Junction. She's at that junction now. She's listening intently. She might be listening for those little contact calls between impala and their young. Incredibly beautiful animal. So, her scientific name is Panthera pardus, and the Panthera cats are the only cats that are able to roar. There are a few exceptions, of course, but to make loud rasping or roaring noises. And in Africa, we only have lion and leopard. But the other two really big cats are jaguar and tiger. And the way they're able to make those noises is they've got a very special little bone in their voice box called the hyoid apparatus, or the hyoid bone. And in most small cats, it is solid. So they aren't able, it's a solid little bone. But in the big cats, it's almost like cartilage, it's elastic. When they push air through it, it vibrates, and that's what causes their calls. So, a huge welcome to Raphael, who's a new viewer from Brazil, who says, just look at this leopard, it's amazing. Well, Raphael, I hope to visit your big cats one day and go see some jaguars in the Amazon. But Raphael was wondering, how old is this leopard? She is 11 years old, Raphael. And she'll be turning 12 next year. Probably closer to 12 than 11 now. So, still the dominant female in this area, and still a good few years left in her. I guess I'd say probably 1 or 2 more litters of cubs as well. So we've got a question from Sean in Secunda. He's asking, what is a leopard's favorite tree? Well, Sean, it depends on the situation. If they're being chased by lions or hyena, their favorite tree is the closest one. But generally, in this area, this leopard in particular really likes sleeping in marula trees and jackalberries or African ebonies. I'd say possibly are the two preferred tree species in this area. No scent marking again. Have to shoot around to get on the road, and she's cutting corners. So she should be going that way, in my opinion, or the opposite way to she's going. That's where the impala are. Leopards quite often do that when they get to a branch, a fallen branch, anywhere they can raise their height even a tiny bit, just to have a look what's ahead. Now, a very interesting thing we don't realize, because we're often sitting in the vehicles, or even when we walk, we're quite tall. But for those of you who ever do visit the bush, to make you realize why sometimes leopards and lions and things don't see the animals that are so blatantly obvious to us, is go down to a leopard's height and literally grass and everything's in your eyes. So it is amazing how effective they are at spotting animals from their height. And Queen, true to form, is walking straight to us. She's probably about 5 foot from us now. Where are you off to next? Okay. Let me just be on the Leopard radio for a second. Actually, I'm not going to call it in until she actually goes down the road. Otherwise, she'll make me look silly. She'll just walk scent mark, then get back on the next road. Oh, can you hear that? Listen. And you can see through there. This dwarf mongoose alarming at her. Oh, he's just popped down the hole. So, while we continue to follow Queen Karula, let's go see JB, who's going to say goodbye, and we'll be back now.
Well, we have made it safely back to the car. I'd like to say thank you all very much for joining us on this fantastic bushwalk experience. It's been so much fun taking you all on a walk out in the open, out in the bush. It's one of my favorite things. I absolutely love doing. It's been really enjoyable, and I hope to see you again on foot tomorrow at some point. Have a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. We're going to head back across to Brent and the Queen of Djuma.
So she has decided to go down Vulture's Nest Road. I'm just going to call it on the radio quickly. Yours and Andrew, she's now mobile south down Vulture's Nest. Isn't that wonderful? Setting sun. The Queen of Djuma. Doesn't get much better than this on SafariLive. I'm even willing to let James win the competition. Shame, he needs to win things sometimes. And we've got a sunset and a leopard. I'll take that any day. So in actual fact, we've already won. Hey, Vim.
Yeah, well.
So as she moves, see how she stops and listens. Incredibly still evening. There's literally not a breath of wind. Although Karula is probably going to be around for a couple of years yet, Ellen, who's in Arkansas, is wondering which of Karula's offspring is likely to take over her territory when and if she passes away. I think more than likely she'll give pieces of her territory to if she has any more female cubs, but there is a possibility if she doesn't. Shadow is probably the closest of her offspring to this area. Tundi maybe might take some areas, but I don't think so. I think it's more than likely going to be Shadow. chatting about cubs and offspring. Brian is wondering, what is the survival rate of leopard cubs? So we'll be back with Karula now. Let's go see what James is up to at the den.
Oh, everybody, we're here at the old hyena den. There are 2 tiny little babies in there. They just stuck their heads out. We're going to spend as much time as we can here. We just thought we'd drag you quickly away from the leopard just to show you. And I'll explain some of the more complex. There. Look at this. Look, 2 of them, 2 little ones. It's the first time I've seen 2 here, Juma, and it indicates that this is a subordinate female and that she's she's part of the same clan where we normally go and look at them, but a subordinate, so she'll come and have her cubs in a sort of, less than the main den, shall we say. And you can see there 2, which means probably that at least one of them is a male. They don't feel the need to fight each other. They're probably both little boys. Isn't that sweet? Oh, this has just made my day. Look at that. Tiny things. They can't be more. I don't think they can be more than a week old. I was here a week ago looking into that hole on foot. There was no activity around this den. There were no tracks. But we did see, I think, this female, when we walked up here, she was just standing here. And I suspect quite strongly that she was casing the joint to have her babies. I don't think that they're more than a week old, unless they were in another hole and she'd moved them here. Isn't that too special for words? Look. They must be a little bit more than a week old, you know. They can't be that. I mean, they're much more precocial than, say, leopard or lion cubs, but they're walking around a bit too much. You can see they're definitely younger than the 5-week-old one that we've been watching. I'd say probably, I can't believe more than 2 weeks old. So sweet and so wonderful to see 2 of them. So the reason she won't give birth in the main den, where the sort of more dominant females are, is because any food that's brought back to that den will be monopolized by higher ranking females. She'll give birth and look after these ones till they're a bit bigger before introducing them to the clan, so that they can cope with the fact that they're probably sitting at the lower rungs of hyena society. Oh, it's too special. Seem much younger than that other one. Just not quite as solidly built, so probably also an indicator that they're males, I'm guessing here. But remember that if there were 2 females, it's highly likely that one would have killed the other, although it does seem to be a lower ranking female, so maybe that wouldn't have been the case. There's the other one. Perfect little spot for them to be. They've lost some shade. They used to have some lovely shade over this mound, but an elephant has pushed over the main shade tree. I don't know if you can hear them. They're making little grunting noises. So great. Brent's going to give me 2 points for these ones. Pretty deserved, don't you think, Andrew? I'm smelling the air. New scent. I think we're probably the second people that they've seen. I know somebody came in here earlier and didn't mention the cubs, but just said it was active. survival rate of leopard cubs, I think the survival rate's only about 30% of them making it to adulthood, if I'm not mistaken, if that. And in fact, I think it's as low as 20% in some areas. The cubs of hyenas will be more successful once they've got past the stage of infanticide, not infanticide, siblicide. So if they're born in twins and there's a female, she'll often kill her sibling. Past that stage, I think you'll find that the survival rate is very high. They stay in the den for up to 6 months, so much longer than the other cats, lions or leopards. And I think you'll find that because of that and the clan situation, the parental care that they're given, I think that you'll find the survival rate is probably around 60%. It's pretty high. Sandra, you say this has made your day. Sandra, it's made my day too. I can't believe it. When I saw, the reason we didn't come across earlier was I saw them and I became too excited and I let out a sort of a shout of joy, and they of course disappeared back into their hole. That's why I'm trying desperately to keep my voice under control as I talk to you now. You can see they're much more nervous than the other little one that we've got at the other den. That's just because they're more little and they have much less experience of vehicles. And also, of course, they're born to a lower-ranking female. They will assume her status. They will be able to do nothing about that status. It's such a fascinating social structure. Unique in the mammal kingdom. Not that the mammals are a kingdom, in the mammal class, I mean. Perfect atmosphere here of complete peace. Just the odd kingfisher calling, one or two francolins in the background. Otherwise, all is just lovely, cooling silence. It's still very hot, but it is starting to cool down nicely. And they're playing. They're not suckling, so they're just having an evening play. What a stroke of luck this has been. So just to reiterate, if you are perhaps a new viewer, we have one clan that we know of in this area. They use this den. They've got another 3 or 4 den sites around Djuma. The main den site at the moment, where it would seem that the matriarch, or the daughter of the matriarch, and another high-ranking female have had what seemed to be a daughter each. One of them is 6 months old now, the other is about 5 weeks old, and they're kind of at the top-class establishment, the Buckingham Palace of hyena dens in the other area, so they're the kind of royalty. And this hyena, as you can see probably from her face, has copped a couple of beatings. She's been, they fight a lot over food, do hyenas, so they do have an enormous amount of competition amongst the clan. She is in the slightly less than salubrious state here, and she's just raising her little babies on their own for a while before they join the rest of the clan. Penny, I agree with you, they do look like bear cubs. Remember, they're not related to bears at all. Bears are more actually closely related to dogs than they are to hyenas. But I agree with you totally. They do have a very bear-like look about them. Yeah, they've gone back inside now. So Peggy on email, like I was saying, and you're quite right, siblicide is an enormous part of hyena society, and if females are born to high-ranking females, then they will often kill the siblings that they're born with, and especially if they happen to be other females. If there are two males born, Peggy, especially to lower-ranking females, then it's highly unlikely that that siblicide will happen. So, Peggy, good question. I think that's why there are two here. If these two were going to kill each other, they would have done it already. Because they do it almost at birth. And you see they're born with their eyes open. They're born with teeth, interestingly. She's trying to call them out again. They're calling. There is another vehicle coming towards the sighting. You hear her calling there? Now, Basica, I also haven't heard your name, so if you're new, wonderful to have you along. Thank you for your question. You want to know, will one dominate the other? I'm going to answer your question now. Station approaching Philemon's Dip, Hyena Den. I just don't want anybody to come driving in here at great speed. That's okay. Basically, you want to know if one will dominate the other? No, you see, they're born to the same mother, which means they'll both inherit her status. She's low-ranking. I imagine there'll be a slight difference, especially if one's female. If one's female, she will dominate her brother. But if they're both male, look at that. If they're both male, then they'll share the status. Is there a station approaching that Hyena Den on Philemon's Dip? Look at that, she's moving. Look at that, she's moving here. Station approaching Philemon's Dip, Hyena Den, come in. This is fascinating. Please approach with great care. The female has taken one of the cubs out of the den. They just come very slowly. I don't know what's going on here. She's going to move the cub to another den, maybe. The other one's calling. You've still got a view there, Andrew. I'm going to go a little bit forward for you. There you go. There you go. Not happy. Wonderful stuff. Station approaching den. You can come now. She's moved them back to the den side. This is so special, everybody. I've never seen that before. I don't know what on earth she was doing. It's okay. We've discussed the fact that they're in different den sites here, and Kay, yes, absolutely. Well, no, sorry, I'm talking nonsense. They won't. You want to know, will other clan members come and visit this den site? I think lower-ranking ones like this female might, but I don't think you'll find that the matriarch and higher-ranking females would. Let's head it back across to Brent and his Leopard. I'm going to just try and help this game drive vehicle come into the sighting. We'll stay here for a little while. We won't be here after dark, though. So if we have seen them for the last time, what a treat it's been. So enjoy the Leopard with Brent, and we'll see you just now.
So we managed to get around in front of her, and she's scent marking again. And she moves down towards the Mawati drainage line. Very alert. definitely on the hunt. Evening ablutions. Our leopard scatters very, very smelly stuff. You can imagine the meat bear's diet. I love it when they do that, when they look up the trees just to make sure nothing's up there. Okay, let's turn around again. Sneaky maneuver there, cutting around through the bush in the corner so we can get her coming towards us. So what we'll do now is we'll keep swapping turns who gets to stay in front with her, because the bush is really thick on either side. She's going to turn up on to quarantine. She is heading towards sort of the spaghetti junction area. There could be some impala around there as well. So, Brian, sorry, we had to disappear off to James at the hyena den there very quickly. And how incredible that is. 2 more babies. And Brian was wondering, what is the mortality rate of leopard cubs in the Southern Sands? And Brian, it's over 70%. And out of the known leopard mortalities, the majority of those are caused by male leopards. And then hyenas and lions are the next lot. And of course, there's always some unknowns. And you get some unusual ones, like pythons that eat leopard cubs. But for the first year of life, it's very tough to be a leopard. So, and it's just left. You also going up ahead there. Where's Andrew? Andrew's on. And she might head down towards the Mawati drainage line. And on the other side, there's an area where there could very easily be some impala. So you can see those bigger trees in the distance. That's where that little drainage line or riverbed is. Now she's going to put us to work. She's been very nice driving down the roads. Now we've got to find our way through the bushes. Guys, don't worry if I drive over a tree, and most of them will just bounce back. Oh, she stopped. She's back. Often do a lot more tree wrecking than we do. out here. Fortunately, she's chosen a section where we can actually get down. Sometimes she chooses sheer banks and then gets stuck trying to find a spot to get around to her. See, there you go, there's that little tail movement. She sort of stops to listen and concentrate. Down into the drainage line, so let's do the same. Sorry, VM, got you at a terrible angle here. More level. That's going to do for now. I think she might head straight across towards this pan system, the fog pan, where we had the eddies on the sunrise safari. You also think maybe head towards Leopard. She's going straight across. I'll try to stay with her. VM. Oh, it's a bit steep. Can you still see it, VM? Yeah. Still heading in that direction. Okay, so while we try get through and up over this little area, we're going to go across to James quickly while I do some serious 4x4ing.
Number 12, everybody. Peter in his pan. Although Brent has the Leopard, we are still collecting score. So wonderful sighting that you're having of Karula there. We'll sit with Peter for a little bit. Just look at his incredible physique as he lies there. They do say that when you can see a hippo's backbone, they probably are starting to lose condition. I don't think he's in too bad a way, though, so I think he's actually going to be all right. That was my head in the way, not some defect of Peter's. We left those hyenas. They'd gone back into the den, and it just was getting a bit dark. They're very little, so we don't want to spend time with them in the darkness. I would rather let them just get used to life in peace completely. We're going to carry on, see if we can't pick up maybe a zebra and a wildebeest, and that will take us to 14 if we're in luck. There's a cicada stuck somewhere. Oh well, we'll find it just now. Never mind, I'll just drive it quicker. Yeah, that's much better. Diane, they construct themselves a shelf underneath that hole there. They're very, very safe from anything other than a hyena-sized predator, and there's nothing a hyena-sized predator that's going to try and take them on. I suppose a python might. A python is probably the greatest danger that they have this time of year, being that size. They might threaten them in the den there, but otherwise it'd be pretty safe. The mother has to go away and hunt, and often they will leave no one at the den. And I wonder, when we walked past there the other day, they definitely weren't in that hole. They may have been in a deeper hole the other side of the den, and I wonder if when she saw us coming up, she responded exactly the same way as she would if she saw lions. They'll run away, the cubs will go inside, and they won't come back. They won't try and sort of defend them because the cubs are so safe underneath the ground there. Great question. Thank you, Diane. Interesting idea from Sean here in Secunda. When we saw them take the cubs out, beautiful sunset there with Andrew, Sean, you saying maybe she was teaching the cubs how to re-find the den. So taking the cub away and then letting it run back. Yeah, I think that's a really nice postulation. It's really possible, yeah. Could well be. I've never seen that before.
we have some incredible hyena action here that we really don't. I mean, I haven't been on a reserve where the hyena dens have been this active this often. It really is amazing. Do with a little bit more lion action, I feel, but still. I'm very grateful for the hyena stuff. So driving across quarantine, hoping to catch one or two more mammals in our little quest to beat Brent. I think we're pretty safe on that score, although those may be famous last words, of course. Maybe a scrub hare, perhaps a white-tailed mongoose. Alva, you say you've just come across the live stream. How very exciting indeed. Lovely to have you along. You say you're enjoying it. Well, please stay with us and please continue to talk to us. We've seen some amazing things today. Brent found a leopard female. Well, actually, Scott found it, I think, in conjunction with Brent. Great teamwork going on there. We had those hyenas just now, little cubs. We've had a mammal competition. I've seen 12 species now. Brent is on 8 plus the one that we gave him extra for finding the leopard. So it's just been the most wonderful afternoon. Right, trying to see if there isn't perhaps a wildebeest here or a zebra. They're always here, except today. Andrew? Very surprising indeed. And no waterbuck. They're not on our list. Or giraffe. Oh, this is a wonderful evening. It really is just beautiful. Clearing's always a good place to be if you want to see something in the night, because they're often here trying to find space so they can see any predators coming to eat them. That's all the antelope. Lovely pink horizon. I really like the fact, to be honest, that we don't drive around too much after dark these days in the summer, simply because it's difficult to film at night. The pictures aren't often great, and night drives can be really rewarding if you see stuff, but if you don't, it can be a little bit taxing. It's difficult to see. You don't get the same vistas that you do during the day. We'll just watch these. They were going to be clear. There were a few more coming out of the bush here. Streaming out onto the plains. There we go. One more. Not a great bevy of them. Look at her run. Isn't that amazing? Oh, that's fantastic. So fast. There they go. There's a ram chasing them around there. Getting a bit dark now to see properly. Oh, yeah, they come. I'm not sure why he should be chasing them, I must say. Let me just go back a bit. There's a view of them. Now, we've been looking at these little baby impalas, most of them well less than a week old. And Debbie, you want to know at what stage they become an adult? It's from New Jersey. Debbie, good question. About 2.5 years old. So the females are able to breed in their kind of second winter. So 2.5 they'll be able to breed. The males are capable of breeding then, but whether they'll be sufficiently large to fight for mating opportunities by that stage, I don't think so. Probably only around 4 years old. Sorry, they really don't keep hiding behind the bush. I'll sneak forward again. No, Jigger doesn't sneak forward. You've got to start. A couple more on the road. There we go. Now, of course, now starts the long night, which is not easy for these impala. And suckle. The little ones will have to lie down at some stage, which of course makes them very vulnerable indeed. So sweet.
tell you, I mean, the temperature, and it's probably it's maybe dropped 2 degrees, but it's still at least 30. It's very hot, 85-ish.
Super humid.
Super humid, yeah. Lots of moisture coming off the ground after the rain we had. Little peaceful nursery herd there. They'll do some grazing. They will do a lot of watching, though, tonight. I don't think there's much of a moon at the moment. Look at the western horizon. Can't see any moon. But quite a few cloudy nights, so I actually have no idea what phase of the moon we're in. So if anyone can tell me that, that would be great. I think that's enough yabbering away from me. Andrew, give me a high five. That's for the mammal competition that we won. Yes, Brent started it. Thank you, everybody, for your wonderful contributions and questions today. I do find, since our Big Cat Week especially, the new viewers, so stimulating having you on board, especially in conjunction with the brilliant questions from our regulars. Thank you for talking to us the way you do. Thank you, Andrew, for your efforts today on camera. And thank you to Nikki, and I nearly said Tara. It's not Tara, of course. Tara's gone. To Kirsten McLennan-Smith in the final control. And we're going to hand you over to Brent Leo Smith. And I also need to thank Jamie for her first walk. We're going to hand you back to Brent, and he'll keep you updated on Karula. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 0500 in the glorious African dawn. Bye-bye, and see you then.
So the Queen managed to give us a slip. We just went to check if she disappeared through this way, and I hear Commander Bond, or James Henry, has been celebrating his Apollo victory. We didn't play for 2 hours. We looked for Leopard. So it's fine. I concede James has won, but Liam and I are winning at life. So there's only 2 minutes left. Back quickly towards Chele Pan. She might pop out there, and unfortunately that area she went through, we just couldn't get the vehicle through, but she is heading in the right direction towards quarantine. It's her general direction, so who knows, hopefully we can find her on Sunrise Safari, fat and full and in the middle of quarantine. Sorry, guys. How do you film yours? There we go. She's popped out. There are some impala and inyala in this area. And guys, what a fantastic sunset safari. Well done to James for winning the mammal. Thanks to Scotty for finding the leopard for us. And well done to Jamie on her first bushwalk. So from all of us here at SafariLive, we definitely will be on the hunt for the Queen in the morning. So good night and enjoy the last few visuals of Karula.